2008, I got very interested in studying 9/11 and saw without a shadow of a doubt that the facts that were presented as the so-called facts are not true, that 9/11 was a concocted event, and the objective was to create a license, an opening to conduct warfare, to demonize entire populations on the earth, primarily Muslim people, Islam people, and to conduct a new phase of war. This is after the Cold War was over, after the United States had lost a permanent enemy, and it was necessary to create a new enemy. Of course, the United States since 1941 has had its political economy, its commercial activities concentrated in what Eisenhower called military-industrial complex. And suddenly there is the whole structure of the United States without an enemy, the industrial structure. So it seems that Israel, the leadership of Israel, especially Benjamin Netanyahu, kind of provide an enemy. Their regional enemies become the global enemies of the West. And so since 9/11, we've had an enormous cover-up, but at the same time we've had really terrific research, a sort of citizens movement. Some of the research is conducted by professionals, professors. David Ray Griffin, who I've met, he has written 10 books on 9/11 and pretty much deconstructed one aspect after the next, and told us there's pretty much not one aspect of the official story which holds up to scrutiny, which holds up to an actual examination of the evidence. Sometimes Building 7 is referred to as the smoking gun of 9/11. And certainly, you just look at the way the towers fell, and they did not fall from melting steel and gravity. There was explosives inside the towers, and it was controlled demolition. And it's especially clear with Building 7, which was hit by no airplane and came down late on the afternoon of 9/11. Now, since 9/11, with this global war on terror, this specious global war on terror, the global war on terror has been updated and renewed. In Canada, Stephen Harper came to power on the energy created by all the misrepresentations and all the militarism associated with the 9/11 psychological operation. And the global war on terror is sort of updated and renewed and rebranded. So we see that the events in Ottawa on October 22nd are, like 9/11, a concoction. There is a manipulation with this Zahav Bibo, this so-called recent Muslim convert. You know, we were delivered a bill of goods. Maybe there was such a person that existed, but this person was being manipulated. He almost gets a police escort to the Parliament of Canada. Of course, as it's happening, as with 9/11, you get no questioning, no proper questioning. Remember, when 9/11 was happening, anybody who did question it was depicted as some sort of unpatriotic, subversive person. And similarly, in Canada, it creates a kind of fear that if you question the official story of what happened on October 22, 2014 on Parliament Hill, you're somehow un-Canadian, unpatriotic. The outgrowth of it was that this event on Parliament Hill was used to justify Bill C-51, which is a kind of Patriot Act applied to Canada. It creates vast new powers for the police. It creates openings for Canadians to be incarcerated without charges, tortured, creates a scenario, a really dark fascist scenario for the future of Canada. And people have focused on Bill C-51 and what's wrong with it. Well, what starts at the origins of what's wrong with it is that it's based on a misrepresentation, lies. It's a false flag kind of event. We saw a similar thing in Paris. We saw a similar thing in Sydney. We saw a similar thing in Copenhagen. This police state, militarized state establishment that depends on creating an image that Islamic terrorism is the biggest threat in the world, and that Muslim people are somehow crazed and extremist. This is a constructed facade, and it's being used to really destroy the decency and democracy and the freedom within our society, and encompass us in police state machinations and control. So we have Stephen Harper, the phenomena of Stephen Harper, running for re-election as if he's a wartime prime minister, and as if we're in an emergency situation, and in an emergency situation oftentimes you just stay with the government that you have. And this is the strategy that is being employed. And Bill C-51 has been effectively used to kind of create chaos in the opposition parties. And by virtue of voting for it, Justin Trudeau has kind of discredited himself. So getting to the roots of how this all began, the origins of the global war on terror in 9/11, it's very important. And the evidence is there. The evidence is overwhelming. And the number of, brilliant, accomplished, professional people who have lined up and put themselves on the line, in a sense. It's, they try to make it so it's a very bad career move to even show interest in 9/11. They expose again and again the ruthlessness of this agenda. And so 9/11 truth ends 9/11 wars. It's that simple. If we think of the number of people killed and murdered in 9/11 wars, millions of people, based on this fraud of what happened on September 11th, 2001. This is Anthony Hall in Lethbridge, Alberta, and all the best to the Truther truck going across Canada.